What if the biggest thing holding you back isn't your job, your past, or your circumstances, but your own mind? Every day, millions of people lose battles they never had to fight. They react to criticism, chase other people's approval, fear failure, and let emotions control their decisions. But over 2,000 years ago, the Stoic philosophers discovered a different way to live. These weren't just ideas. They were rules that helped emperors, warriors, and ordinary people remain calm under pressure, fearless in uncertainty, and unstoppable in the face of adversity. In this video, you'll discover 7 Stoic rules that can transform the way you think, act, and live. And trust me, the 7th rule is the one most people ignore, even though it has the power to change everything. Let's begin. Rule 1. Control what you can control. Imagine waking up to the worst day of your life. You lose your job. Someone insults you online. Your plans fall apart before breakfast. Most people would panic. They'd blame the world, argue with strangers, or spend hours asking, why is this happening to me? But a Stoic would ask a completely different question. What part of this is actually under my control? That single question changes everything. More than 2,000 years ago, the Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught one of the most powerful ideas ever written. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. It sounds simple, but almost everyone gets it wrong. We waste our energy trying to control other people's opinions, the economy, traffic, social media, our past, and even the future. We fight battles we can never win, and then we wonder why we feel exhausted. Here's the truth. Your peace disappears the moment you try to control what was never yours to control. Think about it. You can't control whether people like you. You can't control whether someone misunderstands you. You can't control bad weather, bad luck, or unexpected setbacks. But you can always control your response. You control your attitude. You control your effort. You control your discipline. You control the choices you make in this moment. Imagine 2 people losing the same job. One spends months complaining, blaming the company, and waiting for life to become fair. The other accepts reality, updates their resume, learns a new skill, and starts applying for new opportunities the very next day. They face the same problem. The difference wasn't the situation. It was what they chose to control. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself that while he couldn't control the actions of others, he could always govern his own mind. That's where real power begins. The next time life throws something unexpected at you, don't ask, why me? Ask, what's still in my control? Because the people who become unstoppable aren't the ones with perfect lives. They're the ones who refuse to surrender control of their own minds. And that's the first Stoic rule. Rule 2, stop seeking validation. Picture this. A young man posts something online that he's proud of. At first, everything feels great. A few likes come in, then a negative comment appears. This is terrible. Suddenly, that one comment outweighs every compliment. His confidence disappears. He deletes the post, not because it lacked value, but because he gave a stranger the power to decide how he should feel. That's how millions of people live every single day. They let other people's opinions become the mirror they see themselves through. But the Stoics believed something radically different. They understood that the moment your happiness depends on someone else's approval, your freedom is already gone. Marcus Aurelius was one of the most powerful men in history. As Emperor of Rome, he faced criticism from politicians, generals, citizens, even members of his own family. Yet he reminded himself of one simple truth. You don't have to turn every opinion into your reality. Think about your own life. How many decisions have you made just to avoid being judged? Maybe you stayed quiet when you wanted to speak. Maybe you chased a career that impressed other people instead of one that fulfilled you. Maybe you kept saying yes because you were afraid someone might be disappointed. Little by little, you stopped living your life and started performing for an audience. Here's what most people never realize. No matter what you do, someone will criticize you. Someone will misunderstand you. Someone will believe you're not good enough. And that's okay, because your purpose isn't to win everyone's approval. Your purpose is to live according to your values. Imagine 2 people walking into the same room. One constantly wonders, do they like me? The other quietly asks, did I act with honesty, courage, and integrity? The first person hands their confidence to the crowd. The second keeps it within themselves. That's the difference between insecurity and inner freedom. The Stoics believe your character is built in private, not in the applause of strangers. So the next time you find yourself chasing likes, approval, or validation, pause for a moment. Ask yourself this question. Am I living for their expectations or my own principles? Because the strongest people in the world don't need everyone to believe in them. They believe in themselves first. And that's the second Stoic rule. But even if you stop seeking validation, there's still one enemy capable of destroying your peace in seconds: your own emotions. Rule number 3, master your emotions. A single moment of anger can destroy a relationship built over 10 years. One careless sentence, one emotional decision, 1 second of losing control, and suddenly everything changes. Most people believe emotions are meant to be followed. If they're angry, they explode. If they're afraid, they run. If they're frustrated, they quit. They become passengers in their own lives, allowing every emotion to take the wheel. But the Stoics saw emotions differently. They understood that emotions are natural, but they should never become your master. Imagine a captain sailing through a violent storm. The waves are crashing. The wind is screaming. The ship is shaking from every direction. The captain can't stop the storm, but he can choose not to panic. That's what emotional mastery looks like. Life will always bring storms. You'll face rejection. You'll be criticized. You'll experience failure. You can't stop those moments from happening, but you can decide who you become when they arrive. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that if someone insults you, their words only have power if you choose to accept them. Think about that for a second. An insult doesn't break you. A setback doesn't define you. A difficult day doesn't control you. Your reaction does. That's why emotionally strong people aren't the ones who never feel anger or fear. They're the ones who refuse to let those emotions make their decisions. The next time you feel yourself reacting, don't answer immediately. Don't send that message. Don't make that decision. Pause. Take one deep breath. Ask yourself, am I responding with wisdom or simply reacting with emotion? Because the strongest person in any room isn't always the loudest. It's the one who stays calm while everyone else loses control. And that's the third Stoic rule. Rule number 4, embrace discomfort. Imagine two paths standing in front of you. The first is smooth, familiar, and comfortable. The second is uncertain, difficult, and filled with challenges. Almost everyone chooses the first path, and that's exactly why they stay where they are. The Stoics understood a truth that most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. Comfort feels good today, but it often steals tomorrow. Every meaningful achievement begins with discomfort. The athlete feels it during the final rep. The entrepreneur feels it before taking a risk. The student feels it while studying when everyone else is relaxing. Growth has never been comfortable, and it was never supposed to be. Roman soldiers didn't become fearless by hoping life would be easy. They trained in the heat. They marched through the cold. They prepared for hardship long before the battle arrived. The Stoics believe your character is built the same way. Every difficult conversation, every early morning, every temptation you resist, every obstacle you overcome, it's all training. Most people ask, how can I avoid this challenge? A Stoic asks, what is this challenge trying to teach me? That's a completely different mindset. Think about the strongest person you know. Chances are they didn't become strong because life was easy. They became strong because life was hard, and they refused to quit. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that obstacles aren't interruptions to life. They are part of the path itself. Every setback is an opportunity to become more disciplined. Every failure is a chance to become wiser. Every uncomfortable moment is an invitation to grow. So the next time life becomes difficult, don't immediately look for the easiest escape. Pause. Ask yourself, is this obstacle breaking me or building me? Because every time you choose discipline over comfort, every time you face fear instead of running from it, you become a little stronger than you were yesterday. And that's the fourth Stoic rule. But even the strongest person can lose everything if they don't learn one final skill, the power of silence. Rule number 5, master the power of silence. Have you ever noticed something strange? The loudest person in the room is rarely the most respected. They interrupt, they argue, they try to prove they're right. They desperately want to be heard. But then someone speaks, calmly, confidently, with only a few words, and suddenly the entire room goes quiet. That's the power of silence. In today's world, everyone feels a need to respond instantly. Someone criticizes you, you fire back. Someone disagrees with you, you start an argument. Social media has convinced us that every opinion deserves an immediate reaction. But the Stoics believe that silence is not weakness, it's self-control. Think about a deep lake. The surface may ripple from the wind, but beneath it, everything remains perfectly still. That's how a Stoic mind works. It doesn't react to every disturbance. It chooses when to speak, and when silence is the wiser answer. Epictetus once advised his students to listen more than they spoke, not because their voices didn't matter, but because wisdom begins with observation. Imagine someone insults you in front of a crowd. Most people feel an instant urge to defend themselves, to argue, to prove the other person wrong. But what usually happens? The argument grows. Emotions take over. Nobody wins. Now imagine something different. You stay calm. You don't react. You simply smile and walk away. In that moment, who truly had the power? The one shouting or the one who remained in control? Silence isn't about saying nothing. It's about refusing to waste your energy on battles that don't deserve it. Every unnecessary argument steals your peace. Every emotional reaction gives someone else control over your mind. The Stoics understood something most people never learn. You don't have to attend every fight you're invited to. Sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. So the next time someone tries to pull you into conflict, take a breath. Ask yourself, will my words improve the situation or only feed the chaos? Because real strength isn't found in having the last word. It's found in knowing when no words are needed. And that's the fifth Stoic rule. But even if you master silence, one fear can still quietly control your entire life. The fear of failure. And that's where the sixth Stoic rule changes everything. Rule number 6, don't fear failure. Fear never trying. Imagine reaching the end of your life. You look back at everything you could have done, the business you never started, the dream you never chased, the opportunities you let slip away, not because you weren't capable, but because you were afraid to fail. That's one of the greatest tragedies of the human experience. Most people don't lose because they fail. They lose because they never begin. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall again and again and again, yet no one looks at that child and says, maybe walking just isn't for you. We expect failure because we know it's part of learning, but somewhere along the way, we forget that lesson. As adults, we treat failure like proof that we're not good enough. One rejection, and we quit. One mistake, and we start doubting ourselves. One setback, and suddenly, the dream feels impossible. But the Stoics saw failure differently. They believed every setback carried a lesson. Every obstacle revealed a weakness that could be strengthened. Every defeat prepared you for a greater victory. Imagine an archer aiming at a distant target. He releases the arrow. It misses. Does he throw away the bow? No, he adjusts his aim. He learns from the wind, and he shoots again. That's how growth works. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the path to success. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He didn't expect life to be easy. He expected challenges. And because he expected them, he wasn't destroyed by them. Ask yourself this. What's one thing you've been avoiding simply because you're afraid it might not work out? Maybe it's starting that business, applying for a better job, speaking your truth, or finally taking control of your life. Here's the truth. One day, the pain of regret will be far greater than the pain of failure. Failure can teach you. Regret cannot. So stop waiting for certainty. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Take the first step. Learn. Adapt. Keep moving forward. Because every great person in history has failed. But only those who kept going became unforgettable. And that's the sixth Stoic rule. There's just one final rule left. It's the principle that ties everything together. The mindset that reminds you why every single day matters. If you truly understand this last lesson, you'll never look at life the same way again. Rule number 7. Live every day as if it matters. Imagine waking up tomorrow, only to discover that today is the last ordinary day you'll ever have. Not your last day alive. Just your last chance to become the person you've always wanted to be. Suddenly, the excuses don't seem so important anymore. The endless scrolling, the procrastination, the fear of what people might think. It all loses its power. Because nothing reminds us how precious life is. Like remembering that it's limited. The Stoics had a simple phrase for this. Memento mori. It means, remember that you will die. At first, those words sound dark, but they aren't meant to make you afraid. They're meant to wake you up. Most people live as if they have unlimited tomorrows. They keep saying, I'll start next Monday. I'll chase my dream next year. I'll become disciplined when life slows down. But tomorrow is never guaranteed. And the Stoics knew that. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that every sunrise was a gift, not a promise. That's why he focused on living each day with intention. Not perfectly, but purposefully. Think about your own life. If you knew you had only 1 year left, would you keep wasting hours comparing yourself to strangers? Would you stay in a job you hate just because it's comfortable? Would you continue postponing the goals that matter most? Probably not, because when time becomes valuable, every decision becomes meaningful. That's the hidden power of memento mori. It doesn't tell you to fear death. It teaches you to stop wasting life. Every morning you wake up, you have a choice. You can drift through another ordinary day, or you can become a little wiser, a little stronger, a little more disciplined than you were yesterday. Because in the end, your life won't be measured by how many years you lived. It will be measured by how fully you live them. The world doesn't need another person chasing comfort. It needs people with courage, people with discipline, people who remain calm when everyone else panics, people who choose principles over popularity. And that's exactly what Stoicism teaches. So remember the 7 rules you've learned today. Control what you can control. Stop seeking validation. Master your emotions. Embrace discomfort. Master the power of silence. Don't fear failure. Fear never trying. Live every day with purpose. These aren't just ancient ideas. They're a blueprint for becoming someone the world cannot easily break. The choice is yours. You can close this video and continue living exactly as before. Or you can make today the day everything changes. If this video challenged the way you think, don't let it end here. Subscribe to Stoic Horizon and join a community dedicated to building discipline, mastering emotions, and living with timeless wisdom. Every week, we'll explore the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, and show you how to apply them in today's world. Until next time, master your mind, and the rest will follow.